Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Dragon Network. In today's video I'm going to be doing a card fight Vanguard talk, and it involves opening up this trial deck that just actually came out. Tells you what it is. I've done a trial deck opening before with the last Narukami trial deck actually, but the important thing about this one is this is the newest trial deck, Eradicator of the Empire, and with this comes basically a shift in how Vanguard is going to be played out. Because up until this point, you basically built decks around clans. Now it's really going to be about sub-clans. And what is a sub-clan exactly? Well, I guess I'll also mark this video as a how to Vanguard as well, because I'm going to talk about sub-clans. Basically, sub-clans are an archetype within a clan. Like, we already know that the clans are your basic archetypes, like Narukami, Gold Paladin, Shadow Paladin, etc. But then there's the sub-clans. A good example of this is the Nova Grappler clan. The Nova Grapplers are huge. They've got just generic Nova Grappler stuff. They've got Risers, a sub-clan, a series of cards that specialize around things with the name Riser. They've got Beast Deities, which are centered around cards with the name Beast Deity in them, and Black Cloaker, which also use things based on the name Black Cloaker. And in time, Bushiroad is going to expand on this and make it so that basically every clan has a powerful sub-archetype. And in the case of Narukami, it's the Eradicator theme, and a lot of Vanguard players know just how powerful this theme is going to be with the release of BT10, which is Return of the something. It's the one where we will be getting Draconic Descendant, Buster Dragon, and Liberator Alfred and such forth. But yes, basically a subclan is an archetype within an archetype, and they'll have cards and effects that work around them. And this trial deck is a very good example, as it will have several cards that work with the theme of Eradicator monsters. So I'm going to open this up, assuming I can. Oh, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to wreck this thing. Come on. I'm going to open this up, show you guys the contents, and then I'm going to cut out so that I can zoom in the camera, and we'll go over like the cards in greater detail. So there's the tape. Okay, so as with any Vanguard trial deck, this costs a decent amount. Like, it cost me 22 bucks, which is a lot for a trial deck. They do give you some pretty good cards in here, though. So, what do we have in here? We got ourselves Playmat. I already know about this. Talks about how the two trial decks that you get work. So there is the Liberator of the Sanctuary, and this is the basic strategy of Eradicator of the Empire and how you make use of Vowing Sword Dragon? Yeah, Vowing Sword. I keep wanting to call him Vowing Saber. Here's your starter guide. We already know about this. And this would be the latest version of the Rulebook, updated October 4th. So, I've already gone over a very good amount of what is in here, and it just gives you a chance to refresh on things. I think more importantly, though, is this means that they've probably updated rulings. Handling multiple rules and abilities. Explanation of the frequently asked questions from fighters. So just some like rulings on certain cards. Standing draw. Guard. Yeah, these erratas keep getting very, very higher. Like, new rule changes. Effective since August 1st. You may not put cards in triple or more card sleeves. You may only put cards in up to double card sleeves. Restriction of use of cards. Barkle. Do not touch your opponent's card without his or her permission. Communicate with your opponents by speaking and making your actions clearly. Fight fairly by following the rules and playing respect to your opponent. Something that they don't mention in here is that it is very rude, and it can actually get you disqualified from a tournament if you call out final turn, like in the anime. That's something that a lot of people tend to do because they've watched the anime, and apparently final turn will actually get you disqualified from a legit tournament. So don't do that. Final turn in fun games only, but in like serious competition, don't say it because you'll just get kicked out. That said, now we're going to go over these in greater detail. Okay, so now that I got the camera zoomed in, we can read these things better, and we'll talk about first the boss card of this trial deck, Eradicator, Vowing Sword Dragon, who is the break ride here. Now, I've talked about break rides before. There are units that give you immense benefits for riding another card on top of them, and in this case, Vowing Sword Dragon will do this. When a Narukami rides this unit, choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards, retire it, and then choose your vanguard. That unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. So it's basically a break even in that regard. You're going -1 for basically riding, which is, yeah, that's generally a -1, but then you get to balance that out by popping off a card in your opponent's front row, and depending on what you ride, like a Thunderbreak Dragon, you'll pop off another card, and then they'll get a plus 10,000 boost. So your Thunderbreak Dragon, who gets a 5,000 boost when he's at Limit Break, will be swinging for 25,000 on his own, not counting any boosts that you have in the rear. So a break ride turn is going to be a very, very powerful play to make in Vanguard, and for better or for worse, this is going to shape up how the format goes. This will especially be the case when we start getting more break rides and just more stuff, but right now there's Vowing Sword Dragon, Solitary Liberator Gancelot, and then there's that Bermuda Triangle card that I talked about a while back. This one I feel is by far one of the strongest ones, especially seeing how he's going to be getting a cross ride in a future set. And that cross ride is very good. Not only this though, but he also, like any other break ride, has an ability that makes him get plus 2,000 more power until the end of the battle. In this case, if your opponent has 3 or more damage, he becomes a 13k attacker on his own. It's pretty good. Then we'll go over the rest of the cards in here. I've already looked over this, so I'll give you my quick thoughts on them. We get 4 copies of Barrage Eradicator Xeon. When it attacks, you can counterblast 1 to make it a plus 3,000. And it's not the best. This trial deck gives you some better ones, especially this. 2 copies of Discharging Dragon. It's a Thunder Break Dragon on Vanguard, i.e. you swing, it becomes a, and you have a Limit Break status, it becomes a 15,000. The better thing though is if this guy is on rear and he attacks, if you have a Narukami Vanguard, he's plus 2,000, so he's a 12k on rear guard. Pretty good. Well, at least when you're attacking on your opponent's turn, it's a 10,000. One of them is a foil. And then these are all the grade 3s you get. They're giving you 7, which is Vanguard's recommended number. I go 8. That's just my own personal choice. Then for grade 2s, first up we get 4 copies of Eradicator, Thunder Boom Dragon. It's just basically the Thunderstorm Dragoon for this deck, except it's an Eradicator and a vanilla. 1 copy of Eradicator Spark Rain Dragon. This is probably one of the best cards in here, and the one that you will see in just about every Eradicator list, even if it's not running things like Vowing Sword Dragon. What is it exactly? It's the exact same as Burning Horn Dragon, Dusty Plasma Dragon. It's a 9k grade 2 that becomes a 12k if you have a certain named card in the Vanguard circle. But unlike those cards, just about everything in this deck is named Eradicator, so he's going to be swinging for 12,000 almost all the time. Very good unit. Pair this up with an AK booster, and he's going to be hitting for 20,000 damage consistently. 1 copy of Dragon Dancer Veronica. It's a special interceptor, but I've got perfect cards, so I don't need to worry about running this. Oh wait, you get 2 of these. My bad. I have my deck out of order. Whoops. This guy. Assassin Sword Eradicator Susei. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard of Eradicator in its name, you can counterblast 2 to choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the front row and retire it. And that's something about the Eradicator theme, is they're very efficient in retiring cards and just eating up your opponent's resources, so that it'll have either less cards on the field because they keep putting guys out and you keep popping them. You get 4 copies of Lightning Blade Eradicator Gem. When this unit attacks, if the number of rear guards your opponent has is 2 or less, this unit gets plus 3,000. It's not impossible, but I don't think it's going to be very likely, especially with the other grade 2s that are available in this deck. I'm not fond of it, but it's a good start. And then for grade 1s, we get a reprint of Red River Dragoon in new badass artwork. The Narukami are very adept at Blitzkrieg. That strategy has 2 obvious meanings. Neat. 4 copies of Eradicator Demolition Dragon. This is a very good grade 1 card. Like, oh my goodness. It's basically the exact same as Spark Rain Dragon, but as a grade 1. It's 7,000, but it gets plus 3,000 if it attacks and you have a Vanguard with Eradicator in its name. Note that this guy's effect only occurs when he's on rear guard. Same for Spark Rain Dragon, but that's okay. He's still a 10k grade 1 on offense. Wow. I'm pretty sure this doesn't apply to boost though. And then 4 copies of Dust Storm Eradicator Toko. You can counterblast 1 to give him plus 1,000. You can use this multiple times, so you can pump him up to, say, I don't know, 10,000 if you counterblast 3 times. And since that's his base attack, then you can like use him to boost. But I don't see myself counterblasting with this guy that often. 2 copies of Eradicator of the Fire Kohaki and Kokaki. Whatever. I give up. Anyway, his guy's effect is when this unit boosts a Narukami Vanguard, if the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone is 3 or more, it gets plus 4,000 more power. So it's a 10k booster, and it's the exact same conditions as Photon Bomber Wyvern, making it therefore the best grade 1 booster in the game. Just simple as that. 10,000 boost if you have 3 or more damage. This guy gets a plus 3,000 more power boost if your opponent has 3 or more damage. So this line right here is a 23,000 swing consistently. Get out. And then grade 0s. First up, here's our starter for this trial deck, but I would cut this immediately and just run the Spark Kid Dragoon. In fact, I think Japan is still running Spark Kid Dragoon in their Eradicator decks. Or maybe they finally got an Eradicator unit that starts and has Forerunner and is useful. I'm not too certain on that one, but at the very least, though, this is not good. Then for the remaining grade 0s, you got your basic lineup. 4 crits, 4 draws, 4 stands, 4 heals. The important thing, though, is they're all named Eradicator, and this will be relevant when we get some of the more powerful Eradicator grade 3s and grade 2s that make you counterblast Eradicator named cards in your damage zone in order to perform certain effects. Gauntlet Buster Dragon and there's Draconic Descendant are prime examples of this. And that is the opening and I guess review of this trial deck and just a basic explanation of subclans. Basically, yeah, like subclans are going to be the direction Vanguard is going now. Some people are not going to be happy with this. Other people may be indifferent. It is neat, though, that how this guy is basically a retrained version of Thunderbreak Dragon, which is nice because I think Thunderbreak always looked kind of badass. I will say, though, that Eradicators in Vermilion don't really work that well together. Vermilion has its own distinct playstyle. These guys work much better with the more retire-heavy versions of Narukami, such as Thunderbreak Dragon. And we will be getting cards in the future that will definitely benefit this, but this is definitely a very good card, and I still cannot believe that they gave us. Where did I put them? Yeah, there we go. This is a good card, and this is also a good card. Like these 3, I would definitely go out and try and get singles of. That's what I'm just telling you guys that. And then after that, we just wait for the return of the King of Knights, or whatever that set's called. BT11, and BT10. BT10. We're getting that in December. And until December, well, who knows what you can do with this deck. I'm going to try something, but until then, people, thank you guys for watching. This is Albus TGS, jacking out.